something which we had conceived 20 years back, and extremely proud of this property, and it's with the support of everybody, most of the people on the dais, and many of you, because of which we've been continuing to kind of carry on this one for so long, for almost 2 decades. This forum every year gives us the opportunity to bring all of the CSR stakeholders from length and breadth of the country to share their ideas, vision and achievements on the issues that matter. And we do bring forward new concepts. And
in the pandemic touched the soul. Resilience and reaching out, harnessing the energies and the collaborative spirit resulting from the pandemic became everyday traits. We need to take the spirit of bonding to the next level and create an environment that is equitable and all-inclusive. As a nation, we are in a sweet spot. We realize fully well that we stand on the cusp of the country's lead economically and socially. The G
presence here today and for those very inspiring words. We have the pleasure of welcoming in our midst this morning Mr. Chalchitra, Jury Chair, FICCI-CSR Awards, Co-Chair, FICCI-CSR and Community Development Committee, and Managing Director, Bain Capital India Limited. May I now request him to kindly address the August gathering. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
CSR funding this year will actually cross 20,000 crores and will actually grow at double digits for the medium term, making it a very big and potent force for social change. Importantly, and you'll hear this when we present the awards this evening, the kind of projects is also changing and companies are now experimenting and taking risks. However, to fully realize CSR's potential, a number of things need to be done, and it is people like all of us in the room today who need to keep changing how we think and lead the way on the work that we do. So what are those shifts in mindset? Firstly, and again I would go back to the points that Arshiyanti made. If you look at the poverty map of India versus where CSR money is going, there seems to be no logic in how we actually spending our money. This is basically because we largely
externally and internally. Because at its core, CSR is about companies understanding the impact of their activities on their economy, their community, and the environments where they operate, as well as within their own supply chains. The Government of Canada works with businesses, civil society organizations, foreign governments, and communities to foster and promote responsible business practices and therefore support sustainable economic growth and share
to us through the year. And Ms. Amanda Stone, Her Excellency, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Amit Chandra, the co-chair of the FICCI-CSR committee, Ms. Jyoti Vij, of course, our Deputy Secretary General, for being here. I also want to place on record our appreciation to Dr. Pragya Ram, who is amidst us here. Her continuous support throughout the year really encourages us. And I want to say that through the day today, we have some...
Again, which is almost 25% of the world's hunger burden. 43% of children are chronically undernourished, which is major social concern, and India ranks 63 out of 113 countries in the world on the Global Food Security Index. Next, please. In education, the effect of pandemic was severe.
Funding for that is largely missing. So you can see a lot of people saying this came up from an institute but it never made an impact. It's because that bigger gap of how do you fund the translational research to take an innovation all the way to market is something which actually requires, particularly in the context of CSR, because not every innovation is a market driven. India needs a lot of market, lot of innovations where the traditional market
of less than 1,000 crores are also using NGOs. Clearly shows that we need to invest in developing NGO sector and building capacities of NGOs, because if we want quality implementation partners, somebody must focus on capacity building. So, and last data point which you referred is that the whole
much longer than what people were initially thinking about. Second, how do you prioritize the other verticals, health and hygiene, and how do you take care of your other important parameter of environmental education? So most of the financial resources were reworked. We ended up having a much higher allocation to CSR than what.
So policies still remain. Obviously, we define the policies based on what the government directs. It keeps on changing. Obviously, it's vague for us many times. We try to make sure that we make sense of it and it's understandable. In spirit, it has been put in, out for the public domain. But at the same time, it is not a driver for us. It's a document that guides us, but it doesn't drive us.
Barrage in UP, again UP doesn't get much of investment. Bara in Rajasthan, again similar lesser investment from CSR. Virudnagar in Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra, I will mention Osmanabad. So it's a long-term perspective, moving from a 3 to 5 years lifespan. We are looking at 5 to 10 years. Close to 50 to 60% of our CSR investment is focused.
Like how about bringing or defining the policies to align with the government from the community human resources? Like government already formed their human resources within the community. How about defining some policies so that CSR directly reach out those human resources and address the social need what we are actually facing the gap like currently?
From scratch. So it is a collaborative effort that makes us reach out to the communities, and that is ongoing. That may slow down a bit, but it won't stop.
All our productivity principles, the Pareto's principle, the 80-20, the segmentation targeted positioning, all these things will lead us to a set of farmers, the bigger one, who are giving us significant business. But all these principles will not lead us to the bottom of the pyramid. If we want to make Indian agriculture a $1 trillion sector, we will have to reach to this bottom of the pyramid.
This is what capacity building leads to. I'll give a small example from our own experience where we work with small and marginal farmers in states like Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Telangana, part of South India, where
We a movement on these sides. Again, I would say mainly because of the collectives in the rural and the tribal geographies, which were able to work with the government system and the local panchayats to move these things ahead in a more systematic manner. So again, a lot of positive learnings for us.
Across India's geography, by taking out all buildings, everything, yet we will be negative. And this is coming out as a very big business for the collectives across if they do have space, land and all. And this is where Northeast is like boom. So if you look at today any kind of the organization, those are working on plantation kind of activities in a mega scale, they're all moving towards that.
This group, who will use the solar irrigation pump, that open an account specifically for this one, and in fact for the sustainability, so that they own, the communities they own, so they have
48% of the funds. Poverty alleviation in the last few years has gathered 31%. Rural development and gender and women empowerment, mind-boggling data. Gender empowerment we have spent only 2% of our fund in gender empowerment and women development program.
When you're suffering, you also suffer, that kind of thing. When that happens, then the connection, the bondage becomes really strong. So I think the area that we have to be developing is actually building those bonds of empathy, that you see a child suffering for no fault of hers or his, you actually identify with that child and try to help. That kind of thing has to come about. In the Northeast, on the larger canvas, I think the Northeast is again similar. That you see Northeast, it has a lot of problems, but if you identify with the place and see what the problem is about from their own point of view, then I think that the solutions will open up in a much bigger